So, the trade deadline has officially come and gone, which means that whatever happens going forward is, well, just a result of waivers, cuts, whatever it is. So, it's time for week 9 of the NFL season. And everything going forward is about seeing who's going to make playoffs, who's going to be winning the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, all that jazz. So, without further ado, we're going to take a look at our 14 games for this upcoming season. Well, our 14 games for the week. The teams that are on by this time around are the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Lions, and the 49ers. There's at least three of them coming are going into the bye with a win, whereas the 49ers it's panic. It's gonna be a little bit of a panic mode. They need to get something sorted out quickly. First up on the list is Thursday night football between the Titans and the Steelers. There's in Will Levis. He's been able to put up a surprising start. He's actually won his first game as a rookie. But how long is he going to keep that up for? And does he have what it takes to be the future of the Titans? We don't know yet. Whereas for the Steelers, Kenny Pickett's hurt. It's hard to tell what Mitchell Trubisky is going to do. We don't know how either of these teams are going to do, but somebody has to win. And the main factor that went to my decision was the home field advantage. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to end up winning this game. Welcome to Deutschland. It's time for Germany, the first of two Germany games this season. And this is the Dolphins going against the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams doing pretty good. The, the Dolphins just beat up the Patriots. The Chiefs just lost their winning streak to the Broncos, so they're looking to bounce back from that. It's okay, Chiefs. It's not that big of a deal. Mahomes just had the flu, but I'm sure he'll be cleared to play just in time for Germany. And I think this is going to be an offensive shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game by a final score of 41-35. And now we get to the 1 o'clock batch, the early Sunday batch, as I call it. The Vikings and the Falcons. It's two teams. This is going to be rather difficult for some. Des Whether or not Desmond Ritter plays in favor of Taylor Heineke or not, we don't know. But it is in Atlanta, so they'll have the advantage, which is why I picked them. As for why I did not go with the Vikings, well, Kirk Cousins is officially out for the season with a torn Achilles. He has most likely taken his final snap as a Viking. Depending on how things look, he may have taken his final snap in the league as a whole. So they're going to be stuck with bringing in Josh Dobbs as there's no other choice. Josh Dobbs is going to need a game or two to get used to the system, which is why I have the Falcons. The Seahawks, the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is undefeated against the NFC in his career. The Seahawks still have Geno Smith, which he's been playing pretty good. However, I think that given in the situations, the Ravens are going to pull out the home field advantage win and keep that streak alive. No matter how you look at this, one thing is going to be consistent. The Bears just flat out suck. Yes, they got a new piece on defense, but that doesn't mean that they're going to improve by a long shot. The Saints, meanwhile, have the better roster overall. It's probably going to be the only reason they end up winning, is aside from the fact that they're in New Orleans. A lot of home field stuff early on. Oh boy, wouldn't everybody like this matchup? Cardinals Browns. And let's face it unless Kyler Murray is fully healthy and ready to go, Clayton Tune is likely getting a start. So that uncertainty at quarterback, Kyler Murray is not going to have that well of a tune-up game either, because he's got to go up against that Browns defense. And I think the defense is what's ultimately going to win the game for the Browns. Not the home field advantage, their defense. Anyone surprised that this is a battle of the South where it's a total garbage shoot and somebody needs to win? No? Well, I just gotta say it. The Buccaneers have been starting to learn what happens throughout an entire season with Baker Mayfield. Wonder if he's still doing those progressive commercials. Probably not. But that said, the Houston Texans have been playing surprisingly better than what I was thinking they would, in considering in them how it's gonna be impressive. Tie balls for a head coach? Eh. So I think the Houston Texans are gonna end up winning. Did anybody have this as a tank bowl matchup? No? Well, too bad. It's gonna be a tank bowl matchup. Washington is clearly going on to a rebuild built under new ownership because observation years are brutal, and it's pretty clear that they want to clean out as much of the stain from Dan Snyder as possible. Whereas for the Patriots, it's one of those things where they're just back in line with the rest of the programs. Somebody has to actually win a game, and I think the Patriots are going to be the team that pulls this one out. Because simply put, Patriots are going to be better coached. Speaking of tank bowls, the Rams and the Packers. Thankfully for the Rams, they may not have to worry so much about Matthew Stafford's injury, but it's also worth noting in that they're getting up there in age. Packers, they keep saying that Jordan Love needs a little more time to prove himself, but he is in a contract year, whether you like it or not. And not only that, he's had 3 years sitting behind Aaron Rodgers to see how well to try to prove himself, and it ain't working out. They're just gonna have to settle for a new quarterback in the draft that they're gonna have to do what other teams do. Welcome back to reality, Packers. That's why I got the Rams winning this match. Colts versus. Oh, wait a minute. When did the Panthers end up in the win column? Um, how did this happen to open up the late stretch of games? This is not something I had planned for such a docket. Well, for one, Frank Reich managed to give up play calling duties to his offensive coordinator, and they were able to keep it close with the Texans all game, leading to Eddie Pinheiro getting the game-winning field goal. Well, that said, the they're already in the realm of tanking, in which they can't even do with Bears having in their first rounder. That said, I think the Colts under Gardner Minshew is going to end up winning this game. Well, oh, great. Really, this is what I gotta put up with now? I gotta sit here for Giants and Raiders? At least the Giants are just coming back to reality from a surprise season that should have been a rebuild. The Raiders, though, it's like the Vegas experiment has been failing miserably under Josh McDaniels. Oh, wait a minute! Speaking of, Josh McDaniels ain't coaching the team anymore because he pissed off the locker room. Who saw that one coming? Oh, and they also got rid of their GM too. So now you got interims for the next cycle. Well, you can say goodbye to playoff hopes for both teams at this point. Call it a surefire tank fault. Devontae Adams is likely gonna want out of Las Vegas at the end of the season. And Jimmy G is proving to not be the answer that they were hoping for. And this game is going to be my tie of the week. God help us all. What should be a much better matchup in the late stretch is the Cowboys and the Eagles. Probably one of the few times we would actually accept the Cowboys being played in Jacksonville. But who cares about that? This is going to be an NFC East matchup about between two of the best teams in the NFC, supposedly. I say supposedly because I am not impressed with Dallas with some of the play calls. But that said, I still have to say it. My Eagles have been known for losing at least one game aimed to this squad every year. And I think that's going to stay true. At home in Philadelphia, Cowboys end up winning this one in a close match. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, we have the Bills and the Bengals. Well, and to be honest, both teams needed the wins they got to get back into competition. And however, one of these two teams have to come out on top. And I think that Buffalo is going to get the revenge that they've been needing in all this time. They're going to get revenge on the Bengals for that playoff game last year. And they're also going to get some overdue revenge over Damar Hamlin. Just be careful to not play him. Well, isn't it a trash fire for a Monday Night Football? The Chargers and the Jets. Well, it's going to be about who gets bailed out more. Is it really going to be that big of a competition, though? It's going to end up being the Chargers who get bailed out more because the Jets don't have an offensive line. They don't have a quarterback. Do you really trust Zach Wilson? Do you really trust him? No. Welcome back to tanking, Jets. And here's the little recap look at how I have predicted the games along with the final score I predict for the Dolphins Chiefs game. And yeah, we're in for another week of ugly football. We'll just say that much. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this edition as we enter the month of November. Or maybe I can run an offensive line better than what Josh McDaniels could. Well, we'll see if that happens as the season progresses. But until next time, travel safely.